Hello, all you beautiful, wonderful, amazing, spectacular tea people. It has been a while, and I hope you're doing absolutely wonderfully well. Today, Luye Red, we're going to do a side by side comparison. This is the winter, this is the spring. I already bought a bunch of winter, I got to pick it up today. Then we'll do some of this, which is a tea that will be put onto the Discord, into the sort of the more expensive side of tea, that side of things, in hopefully this weekend. As you can see from my svelte look, I've had again, not to call it by any stretch of the imagination a terrible month, but I've had a month of very, and it wasn't even that bad. It was just I'm so spoiled in the sense of, for many years I haven't had health issues, and again, health issues is a strong one, right? I'm fine, but I'm just not used to being sort of sick, and so I got sick for the past month. So I've been taking it easy, and actually today I just want to say it because I like to say it a lot, because I am extremely grateful. I took a look, and I haven't been doing much. Obviously, all the tea's been getting sent out. That's no problem. But I haven't been doing all that much. Sorry, F-16. I haven't really been doing all that much online, not a lot of live streams, not putting a lot of energy. Like, I started this Discord, and then I've got no energy to write in the Discord. I was just like, oh, let's look at the stats from last year for sales and things like that. And it's actually, this January is up from last year's January, and I'm always overwhelmingly appreciative and thankful for the support that you wonderful tea people have given me and my family and our friends that we buy tea from. Anyways, what's going on here now? The story with the Luye Red. The Luye Red. Luye is actually a really small place. So it's down southwestern Taiwan. And I get tea from two different places. One of the places is sort of the lower elevation. That's the honey black oolong and the the wild cultivar oolongs. What's the other one? Come on, what's the other one? The sweet Asamaka. They all come from this sort of lower elevation place. Nice looking day. It is. It is beautiful. It is just, thankfully, we've had a couple days in a row. We're getting into Chinese New Year. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But yes, actually, before we get too far into it, if you're going to buy tea, do it in the next 12 to 24 hours. Do it in the next 20 hours, basically, because there's a 9-day break. So starting on Saturday, there's no shipping for 9 days. We're going into the Chinese New Year. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Luye. And then there's this other place where they do just an amazing job. They're higher elevation, and they don't pick as much, and they only have two different kinds of teas. They have the Jinshuan, the milk oolong, and they have the Qinxin oolong, and they're higher elevation, and they're up in this area where there's no one else. This is the only place that does tea, period. They are it. And that's where the Luye sort of red oolong comes from. And if you notice the difference between this and the honey black oolong, not as many bug bites. So there can be some, but there's usually not as many bug bites. And it's got a sort of a deeper feel to it. It's got a like the lower elevation stuff, they're more earthy, more rooty. And this one, the red oolong, the higher elevation stuff, is a lot more. Sorry, Might be a bee climbing on my toe. Uh, it's a lot more higher elevation. So it's a little bit wispier, lighter, sweeter, floating around. Now, there is a relatively large problem with the teas of the higher elevation of the red oolongs they get. And sometimes you will see this. Sometimes if you bought this tea before, you will have had this problem perhaps if you left the tea too long, is that they oftentimes leave it a little bit wet. Because they leave it a little bit wet when you first have it, when it's fresh, it's beautiful, sweet, fruity, just gorgeous. But if you leave it for too long, it can get a little funky because there's too much water in it. And that is a problem that they have had with some of the teas that I've gotten from them over the years. And so what I have done this time is I bought a load of this tea, like a lot of this tea, because it's pretty good. It's this one here, and we'll drink it in a second. And I bought a lot of this tea. And the reason I bought a lot of this tea, because I got an idea. And I thought, you know what? Because I already buy a lot of their tea. Actually, I get it. Last year I bought some of their tea to turn into the, I scented some of it. And then this red oolong, I'm like, you know what? If I put orange blossoms in this bad boy, I bet you it would be amazing. Just amazing. Hey, man, how's it going? If you put orange blossoms in Luye Red, it's going to be an expensive tea, right? It's not the cheapest tea. It's going to be an expensive tea, but you're probably going to be able to create something absolutely spectacular. And so that's what I did this year. I'm going to go pick it up later on today, and I'm going to release it on Sunday. There's lots of other teas that I'll release on Sunday. But on Sunday, I'm going to release the Luye Red and all these different teas. But I bought a bunch because I'm going to leave some aside. And then in the springtime, I am actually going to scent it with orange blossoms. Not the pomelo. No pomelo with that one, but orange blossoms. So I'm going to scent it with orange blossoms. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, let's get into this right now, and then we'll go into, you can see this tea right here, this beautiful CY Chen springtime tea, which I have, I guess about a kilogram or so of that tea, give or take. Now, here are the two teas. You can see the two teas right here. This is the fresh one. This is the one I just bought a bunch of. This one is I had a little bit left of the springtime tea. And the Luye Red is, again, that's not a gunshot. That's just them scaring away the birds. And I don't think I get, out of any of the teas that go out of stock, I do not think I get as many emails as any of the other teas except for like this one. Whenever this goes out of stock, I start getting these emails. I love this tea. When are you going to have it back in stock? I love this tea. When are you going to have it back in stock? And it's a little bit annoying. Actually, it's really annoying because how I get it is through, I don't actually get it directly from the source. I get it from the older sister who has a store in Hualien of the place in Taidong. So if I got it directly from Taidong, I'd be able to get it a lot faster. But instead, I get it from the sister. And so because I get it from the sister, sometimes it takes a while. And so it took a while this time. Now, they didn't really pick until December, which also makes it take a while. But it took me a while to get the tea because I had to go through the sister and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm going to go pick it up later on today. And it'll be for sale on Sunday on the site. So this is now what people love about this is the fruitiness and the sweetness to it. But what I really think people love the most about this, who's backing up? Anyways, the hopefully it's not too loud on your phone there. Is the Western palate has been trained on crappy black tea. The Western palate has been trained on crappy black tea bags. And this has some of the malt, some of the beauty of black tea mixed in with the beauty of oolong, easy to brew, easy to recognize, easy to pull out taste points. And people just, especially the people that are a little bit newer to tea, love it. They absolutely love it. And so this is the springtime tea, and I can feel right away it's got so much stuff. It's like just going through. It's got a lot of the stuff, but there is a touch of sort of like almost like a sourness, I guess, where in the springtime there wasn't that sourness. And that comes from, again, them putting it back a little bit wet. That's why I usually don't buy that much, or I buy a little bit at a time when I'm selling this tea, because I don't know when the switch is going to go into sort of a little bit sourness, a little bit left too long, a little bit too much water in the Luye Red, which makes it unsellable. And this one actually is not too bad. It's still okay. But I still would be like, if I was tasting this right now, I would not buy it. I would not buy it if I was tasting it right now. Now, here's the fresh stuff, right? So here's the fresh stuff that I'm about to go and pick up. And this, of course, is the Chin cultivar. And right away, the difference between these two is freshness. It's fresh, crystal clear. There's no catches. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just from the upfront to the, oh, this is a black tea. Wait a minute. That's not a black tea. Oh, wow. That aftertaste is amazing. Is this experience that so many people love. And, you know, it's easy to brew. You know, that's a huge part of it. It's easy to brew. And I'm happy to have it back on the site. I know there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to be super happy to have it back on the site. I'm going to have to go through my emails and do a, search for Luye Red and email all the people that have emailed me over the past couple months going, when is it going to be back in stock? When is it going to be back in stock? Say it's back in stock, 10% off for the next 3 days, which I will again launch on Sunday. Although it won't be, I can't send out any of that tea until February the 3rd because we're getting into the holiday. The color looks different to more vibrant in the new pick. Yeah, you definitely could say that. I guess I didn't pay attention. I was drinking it, but if you picked it up from the, that, then probably that's very much the truth. But like I said, it's a tea that's meant to be had fresh. Now, usually red oolongs, it doesn't matter that much. Like, for example, the honey black oolong that's on the site right now, they actually put a little bit of a toasty roast to it. Now, it's not a dominant flavor, but it's in there. And that means it makes it stable for longer. Whereas these guys, again, like I said, they put it back a little bit wet, which means that from when you're drinking it over a long period of time, it might go a little bit stale faster. But I didn't connect it. Anyways, I'm going to put it with orange blossoms. And when you put it with orange blossoms, you actually dry it out even more, which will make it much more stable. Anyways, that's why I'm buying a lot of it. And I would probably say the springtime tea was better fresh than this one. Yeah, I'd say so. A little bit more oomph to it. But right now, obviously, this is way better. From what I could see for a split second, yeah. Well, it's yeah, I guess so. But it's just fresher. And like I said, this one in the springtime is probably a little bit better, just overall. But now this one is way better. This one is it's fresh and good and good. Wildly better. But, it's one of those things where I think I went on a rant about it last live stream. Some vintages, some years are better than others. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? And it's not like this is a bad tea. It's just if you're comparing the teas for 5 years straight, some years are better than others. And it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe how bad this tea is. No, it's just some years are better than others when you're comparing them year to year. That's just the way life works. You know, some months are better than other months. Some years are better than other years. Each person has a different better month. And you know, my this year, I can say that my January this year was pretty crappy. But you know, it's almost over. We're getting there. I'm feeling better. You know, I've got my to my wife's great annoyance, you know, like, you know, you know, my shirt's off. I'm showing my wife how much weight I lost over this month. And she's like, you know how much I had to suffer for that? And you know, fair enough, she did have to suffer for my dropping of some weight. But I got a great head start for 2025 to get into shape and keep it in shape. Anyways, this right here, and you can just see when you've been doing this long enough, you know, and not to take away from this tea, right? I'm not taking away from this tea at all. But when you've been doing this long enough, you can see how much care people have taken in rolling the tea. They've taken care in rolling the tea, but not as much as people have taken care rolling this tea. And basically, how do you tell? Here's a great example. This is how you tell, right? Let's see. Oh, here, I'll put it. Oh, that's still wet. I can't really show you. Anyways, take a look. So you can see here, I'll put it up here, right? And so you can see, see this little thing up here? This little thing gets knocked off if you're doing it in a lazy way. If you're using just machines all the way through, if you're creating a tea with just machines all the way through, these beautiful, like this, right? So you can see here, like you can see there's a little stem there, right? So you can see the little stem right there like that. So you can see that. That gets knocked off if you're not. The more care you are giving the tea during the rolling process, the more likely you are to have these little things that pop off the balls. And just looking at this tea, I can just tell there is so much more care placed in this tea than in the vast majority of the other teas we have on the site. But, you know, we are looking at, when I say this tea, you know, we're literally looking at, you know, a Pareto distribution tea, a top 1% of the 1%, right? This is C.Y. Chen's springtime tea from his garden. These are not from his Phoenix garden. So these are not the 100-year-old tea trees that he has, but this is sort of the same garden. And it's not certified organic, but it uses no agrochemicals on it. And it's a mix between a bunch of older tea trees, 30-year plus tea trees, a bunch of different sort of cultivars, all related. Some of them were planted from seeds, or some of them were planted from cuttings. So nobody really knows exactly what the cultivars are, but that's what this tea is. And he does a really, 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 really good job in creating this tea. And I've got, like I said, I've got about a kilogram of this tea, and that will be so interesting because it's so different than the Su Sampien's tea. So last live stream, I did Su Sampien's like charcoal dongdae. I'm just going to call it charcoal dong. I'm not even going to call it charcoal roast. It's literally like charcoal, right? That's the tea. You get into some of it, you get into the deep parts of it. Maybe you might be able to pick out some taste profiles, but basically it's just charcoal. It's so heavily roasted. But this is using charcoal, but this is dongding. Is the other Su Sampien going to be up on the site? Yes, yeah. I'll release them all at the same time. And I keep talking about it, right? What's God trying to tell me there? I keep talking about it, and and I am going to put it up on the site, right? I am going to put it up on the site. It's just been a rough month. I'm not complaining, and I'm not saying that it's somehow. It's just been rough. It's been a rough month. Um, and it's not even all that bad. Like it's not even. I can still do my work. It's just, anyways. What's the point? Those teas will all be up on the site, and they will be in a special part of the site that will need a password. And the password will not be a secret, but it'll be one of those things where if you're just getting into tea, if you're just brand new to the site, you probably shouldn't be playing around in there, because those are the teas that are going to be expensive, and those are going to be the teas that if you've never had an oolong before, you don't want to be starting with the charcoal Susanpian. You don't want to start there. That's not where you want to start. Because you're going to drink it, you're going to go, what is this? I don't even know where I don't like it. I like it. I don't. Who cares? There's going to be nothing like that you're ever going to have in your life, except for that tea. And so that's not where you start. You start with the classics. You start with your ABCs before you get to the PhD level teas. Before you get to the teas that are the equivalent of those special track courses where there's only like two students and one professor, like that they do in the elite colleges, those elite things, where they have like in the whole year, they might have like 7 or 8 kids and one professor, 2 kids, that's those types of teas. You don't want to start with that because you'll be overwhelmed. This one is not, you can start with this, and this one's accessible. But even then, you're going to try this, and everything else is going to be below. So there are 3, this one and the 2 charcoal roast from last video. Yes, and I will also put in that I've only got, 500 and some grams of that really special Eastern Beauty. That really special Eastern Beauty. I'll put that in that section of the website too. But I am... I've got to, I'm going to go hard on getting those really amazing teas. The more expensive teas. Why is this a thumbs up? This is not a thumbs up. Anyways, wow. Look at the color on that. Anyways, I'll show you the color in a second. I'm going to go hard on, I've set aside some cash, and I'm going to go hard on the aged teas, the really beautiful teas, the competition style teas, those really, really special teas. I'm going to go hard into those and try and populate a part of the website that are those teas that even if you drank tea for a long time and then you came to Taiwan and you worked really hard in trying to find those teas, the average person would never be able to find those teas. They would never be able to find those teas, because the only people that are even going to get access to those teas are the people that already have the respect of the tea masters who make those teas, and they only make them in small amounts. Like, like I'm going to go again. Last year for Chinese New Year, I went to Taipei, and I went to go see my buddy, and he sold me some of the 1996 aged Muza, and it was pretty good, and it sold out. And he literally told me, he said, I'm not giving you any more of this. When this sells out, this sells out. That's it. I'm not giving you any more. And, half joking, but very serious, like, he's like, I don't give this to people, and I'm not giving you more. I'm keeping this, right? I'm saving this. And so I'm going to go back and say, can I have the 1997, please? Sort of can I try the 98? Like that sort of thing. And I'm going to try and go do that. I'm going to try and go find those teas that are the really special teas and bring them in. Any chance of getting more Alpine White again? I would say the chances of that are slim to none. One, I think I only got 600 grams of that when I bought it. And that was an extremely rare tea, in the sense that it was a high elevation white tea that worked. And those are really, really hard. Now that guy, I've got to jump in and I've got to find more of his stuff, because he's really good. Really, really, really good. He's an amazing guy. But you don't get white teas like that all the time, and they're rare. And so uh, I could find a tea on the same level of the Alpine White, but it might not be his. It might be from somewhere else. But I'll always look for it. I'll always look for it, right? And when I'm going through that was a tea show find. When I'm going through the tea shows, more if somebody says, "Oh, I got an Alpine White or like a high elevation white," more often than not, I'm going to try it, because if you can find one that is that memorable or that beautiful, that's a special tea, but it's also an extremely rare one. It's rare, so hard to make those types of teas. But if you want something like the Alpine White, next spring there will be the La La Shan Snow Mist White, and that's on the same level. They're different. The La La Shan is a little bit lower elevation, a little bit stronger flavors, but they're on the same level. They're on the same level of quality, and that one is really consistent, right? Every year that tea is really beautiful, really consistent. But I'm always on the lookout. Absolutely. Was that the one you were talking about a couple months ago that you were going to offer in Discord? So the ones that are going to happen in the Discord first are Su Sampien's electric roast, charcoal roast. There's this one, which is I'm drinking right now. There is also going to be more that I'm just drinking this right now because I got to order some more from CY Chen. Every time I mention the Discord teas, that happens. Ta-da! Either I shouldn't do it or I should. I'm leaning towards I should do it, or it's an important thing to do. That's what I guess is the birds are telling me. But and here you can see this is the tea, and see how bright it is. This is just the second steep, and you can see how bright and beautiful that tea is. The third steep coming here will just be so bright, so beautiful. But the water's not that hot after all this time. Anyways, whatever, it's okay. I'll leave it for an extra long time. But he's got a Taiwanese grown Da Hong Pao and the red robe. And so I'm going to buy some of that and then also put it, it's like super expensive, but it's like it's so unique, right? It's so unique, but I'll get a couple, a kilogram or two of that, however he's got. And I'll probably get the wintertime version of this tea as well. So I'll add those into the site. But I just wanted to drink this tea it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, right? So I'm just like, I just want to make sure that, yes, he is the master that he is. And he is. CY Chen is an absolute master when it comes to these teas. He is absolutely a master. The teas he creates are spectacular. They're beautiful. They're spectacular. And I gotta lay out a bunch of money, but I'm just going to buy them. I'm just going to buy them because they're just that good. And so what this is, this is his springtime tea. He does, this is sort of his mid-level roast. And this is his modern classical take of a younger tea master on what it means to have a Dongding oolong. And it's beautiful. And it's, it's just a gorgeous tea. Like you look at how he's done the tea balls. That's hard. It's hard to sort of understand and see sort of like that the way that I can, because I see tea balls all the time. But there's so much care that he puts in this, right? So I'm sure it's done through a machine at some point, but it's not blindly done through a machine. He does this in a way that's absolutely spectacular, right? It's loosely done, and it's beautiful. It is beautiful. The amount of care that's taken in creating these teas. I'm going to support him. I'm going to buy some and share it with everybody. And I hope people can enjoy it and appreciate it as well. This needs hotter water. I apologize. It's got to be hotter water. It should be a deeper color, but you can just see how bright it is, right? You can just see how bright this color is, and it jumps out at you. It jumps out at you. Really high quality tea. The color, the taste, the everything about it just jumps out at you. And it's just stuff that I'm happy to share. Stuff that I'm happy to share. To recap, this is the springtime. This is the wintertime Luye Dongding. I'm going to order a lot of this. Actually, I already did. I got to go pick it up today. And so this will be released on Sunday, along with some other teas that I can't really remember too much, all of them, because it's been a long time since I've been. I'll probably release the winter Dongding. Or so yeah, the old master Dongding probably. There is the hybrid ruby. Anyways, I'm gonna have to go through, but there's also going to be the other section of the website which will have the CY Chen and the Su San Pian stuff, and that will also be released on Sunday. And so there will be this tea, the Su San Pian stuff. I'm not going to be able to get it in time. I might be able to, but I probably won't, because they're closing. So, anyways, what the story is with happening at the post office this year is the next Monday is not a holiday, and this Saturday they're supposed to open for half a day. But what the post office people did was they voted and they said, okay, some random Saturday in February we're going to open for the whole day. And we're going to take 9 days off in a row. So the Postal Service is closed for 9 days. Good for them. Not so good for us. But so that's basically what's going to happen. You're referring to the Winter Dongding that is coming. Yeah. I think I should throw it up there on the site. I got to try it again. Maybe I'll do another live stream tomorrow. What day is today? Thursday. Oh, maybe not. Maybe no. Maybe I'll do another live stream tomorrow with the 2 Dongdings, and but it's ready to go, and so I'll probably release that. But the problem is I'm not going to be able that email is going to go out on the 25th or the 6th or something like that. But I will not be able to send out any of the teas until February the 3rd. Which is annoying. At the same time, I hope that I'll be able to get some more rest so that I'll be fully rare and ready to go for February. I hope so. But like I said, it's been for me anyways, not the best January on record. But not complaining. It's okay. It's fine. The amount I pushed myself last year, anyways. May have asked before, but what water source do you usually use to brew your tea at home? Recently moved and getting used to some new water with a different TDS. Well, you caught me out. I actually use an RO water. I don't worry about the water too much. And the reason I don't worry about the water too much, I should probably do something to the water, make it a little bit more, let the flavors jump out a little bit more. But the reason that I don't, beyond perhaps laziness, is I've just been doing this for so long that even RO water, right? So that's reverse osmosis. So that's probably got like a very, very low TDS. I've been doing it for so long that the RO water is fine for me to be able to make evaluations and to make things worthwhile. Now, if I was brewing just for enjoyment purposes, if I was brewing just to enjoy, then what I would use is RO water with a little piece of rock and probably a little piece of activated charcoal. So I would do two. Um, Zero water can help or reverse osmosis. Yeah, well, the reverse osmosis, I think, and it's not quite distilled. There's still some stuff in there. Like I would not recommend using distilled water at all. RO water is better than distilled water, but the RO water does take off some of the high notes and it does pull out some edges that if you're just doing it purely for enjoyment, I would suggest RO water. And again, this is if your tap water is not good. Maybe somewhere out there you've got good tap water. I don't. The water here is like I can't remember what it is, but it's kidney stone water, right? Like if you're not filtering your water, like the mountains behind me are all marble and there's rivers that come through and they put a lot of calcium in the water. And so when it comes to your house, you really should be filtering the water. Uh, and so I do filter the water. But what you can do is add a stone into when it's boiling, or activated charcoal, and you do one or two or both of those things, and you really get something amazing. You really can pull out even more of the flavor profiles. I also kind of cheat. I'm using this. So this is literally an unglazed pot made from the dirt of this area. Obviously not the area where this is grown, which is on the other side of those mountains, but it's adding in some dirt. It's sort of like the equivalent of a rock and activated charcoal, actually. So when I'm brewing the really special teas, oftentimes I do that. And you can set your water out to get rid of the chlorine. Yes, you can. Right? Hey, nope, there we go. There's an exclamation point. That's important. Get rid of that chlorine. I find that the RO filters do pretty good with the chlorine as well. So I don't have to worry about that flavor and taste. I mean, my children still talk about it all the time. Whenever we talk about water and quality of water, they're just like, that Canadian water was so bad. Like we were staying in Southern Ontario, and that's all sort of the equivalent of aquifer water from deep limestone, sort of aquifer-y type of things. That water sucks, and people add salt to it and make it even more terrible. And so you have to sort of, when you're looking at the water and where you've moved and sort of the water and things like that, I would say try and get a good litmus test going. So either like a bottled spring water or RO water or something like that, like a good baseline that you're used to, and then add in sort of what the local water is like, and then move things around from there. Obviously, we're talking about deep tea nerd stuff, but remember, this is mainstream. This is a mainstream idea, because there are places in England, and I forget the name of it, but there's a tea brand in England that is for a certain part of England that has really limestoney water. And there is a tea brand for that area because the other teas in England, if you drink them with that water, it tastes like crap. And so they have a specific tea brand for that area of England that's got a really limestone rich source of water. So I mean, this is mainstream stuff, right? In the context of things like that. Can't get more mainstream than British tea bags, right? And so it matters, right? It matters. And Voss non-sparkling. Well, there you go. There's a recommendation where you can get some decent water. But like I said, here water is best water to make tea is from basically marble mountains. river water from Marble Mountains, and in my humble but very experienced opinion, and so you just sort of have to find that out for yourself. I was just curious. I had a decent spring water before with moderate TDS that I got used to, but didn't have access now. Have good tap water with very low TDS now, getting used to it. Yeah, well, I would suggest finding some activated charcoal, just throwing it in. It'll help. It'll help for sure. Absolutely. Less mouthfeel, but flavors come out well. Yeah, I think that's basically what you're looking at when you're looking at the RO water. Now, remember, what does calcium do? The calcium sort of pulls out a lot of the mouthfeel, right? So if you, so I'll give you an example of real tea nerdness. Okay, so I used to take people out when I was an outdoor guide. I used to take people out to the high mountains, and then when we were coming back down, there was I haven't been there for years because of the earthquake and because of the landslides and everything. I miss it quite greatly. But there's a temple, and they would have water that was literally just pumped out of the river beside us. And that water from the river was actually a little bit too rich. It had too much calcium in it. It was 100 and some. And they also had a RO water filter where you could get sort of drinking water. And so what I would do is I would go up, I would fill up a pot of water with the RO water, and then I would come down, and then I would turn on the tap fresh from the river, and I would splash some into the pot of water, maybe like 1 to 20, and then I would cook it in, and that did the perfect amount of bringing out the flavors for that tea. And that's what I would do if I really wanted to bring out the flavors for that that particular area and that particular water. Because if I used the river water, like just full on, just use the river water, it would be, you'd just be drinking the water and it would mute the flavors all around. It would just mute them. And the problem with the RO water is exactly the mouthfeel, right? The mouthfeel doesn't jump out at you. But if you have some of the calcium and some of the dissolved minerals in there, it will, I don't know. I can make stuff up and say, well, they will extract the flavors and then they will create molecules that you're taking. I don't know, but it gets thicker, right? It gets thicker, especially with the milk oolongs, right? Especially with the milk oolongs. It'll draw out again, what is milk oolong named after? Nai Xiang, which literally translates as the positive aspects or the positive flavor, the positive experience, flavoriatorial experience of milk fat. Nai Xiang. That's what it is, right? The both the smell and the taste, the positive flavonoids of milk fat. It'll bring it out a lot more, especially that particular tea. And now that we've lost everybody who was just wanting to hear me talk about flavor profiles, or I don't know, just wanted to look at the view. When you do get sort of a new water, that's sort of the way it goes. And what I would suggest if you're in a place that doesn't have the best water would be to find a stone from a place that you enjoy, plop it in your water, and see what happens. All right. Oftentimes, like your favorite mountaintop, go get a rock from your favorite mountaintop, plop it in your water, see what happens, see if you enjoy it. And oftentimes you really can. Oftentimes you really can. And what I should do is I should systematize it and all that type of stuff. But you only got one life, right? So here we go. This is going back into that tea, the Luye. Yeah. It's nice. It's Luye Red. The springtime's a little bit better, but it's staled out. Anyways, boil the stone first. Well, boil the stone, see if you like it, then add the tea. Maybe you're not going to like it. Maybe you got a sour stone. Maybe the chi from the stone is not exactly what you wanted, or a dog peed on it before you stuck it in your pocket. But yeah, boil the stone. Absolutely, boil the stone. I mean, there's a cheat code. I used to do this for sometimes I'd go to these places and I'd actually send stones from the terroir in the subscription box. Maybe next time I go to a place, I should do it from Pingling or something like that. This spring when I go get some baozo. But you can, you put the stone in, you dip it in the tea, and the tea will taste better. Literally, the tea will taste better. If you dip the stone from the terroir, from the tea where the tea was grown, if you dip it into the tea will actually taste better. And it's always fascinating. But you can do blind tastings, and it's better. It is better, right? It's just better. But I'll tell you, when I add orange blossoms to this, when you enjoy sort of orange blossom sort of scented tea, this is just going to be. Anyways, send me some from Taiwan for my tea next time. Well, I don't actually have any with me. Obviously, around here, there's no tea that's grown around here. But I will. I'll try and do it. I don't know what happened. Does anybody know? I've pretty consistently had the same amount of people signing up for the tea subscription for years, and it's not a lot of people, but it's enough people. And like I said, I don't really make a lot of money from the subscription, but it gets me thinking, and I write and I do these different things, and it's sort of like every month for 5 years I've sent out that subscription box. So for me, it's sort of it's interesting. It's anyways, what's the point? For some reason, it's now doubled. The amount of people that are getting the subscription box is now doubled. And I don't know why. Was there like a I don't know, did somebody talk about it somewhere? Did somebody put it out? Did an influencer mention the tea box or something like that? I don't really get it. I don't know why, but now maybe it's because I haven't raised the price of the tea box in like years. But it's now doubled, which is interesting. Quite fascinating, actually. And it's a lot of work. Now it's a lot of work. Not complaining. But yeah, it's a fascinating sort of to watch all that happen. Anyways, I've been doing this for 48 minutes. I got to go have some lunch. Haven't joined in a while. Oh, hey, man, how's it going? We're just finishing up to recap the hope everybody's okay there. There's the ambulance rolling through. This is the springtime and the wintertime. Springtime and the wintertime, Luye Red. And this is going to be released on Sunday. Then this is the sort of the Phoenix area. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Probably the Phoenix Dongding Charcoal Roast CY Chen Spring 24. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Anyways, this is the CY Chen's classic take on the Dongding, and this will be probably released as well. But on the section of the website that will be like password controlled, and it'll be if you're just getting into tea, it's probably not the best place to start. But it'll be sort of the more expensive, less amounts, and quite nice. Your tea subscriptions have doubled because of these awesome live chat sessions. You take the time to explain stuff we only experience through our taste buds. But Mr. Christensen, I've been doing these live streams for years. And I don't know, maybe I'm getting better at them. I don't know. So somehow I doubt it. But it was, been doing basically everything the same. And then all of a sudden they've been doubled, but maybe. It's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. But I've been doing these live streams for many years, and haven't seen that same sort of jump of subscriptions. But maybe, who knows? It definitely could be the case. But yeah, these are these beautiful leaves, charcoal roasted, beautiful hand-picked, gorgeous stuff that'll be released soon. And I'm going to order some more today, although it's not going to get here before the holiday starts. But I think that's about it. Last call out for questions or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, I think with orange blossoms, this is going to be a pretty special tea. Really special tea. And it's, it's nice. It's okay. It's decent. It's good. The springtime was better, but they put it away with a little bit too much moisture. So it's just not really saleable, unfortunately. But I will buy it again in the spring for sure. Be great, be healthy, and enjoy. Thank you very much. You as well. And yeah, I'm going to go fry up some eggs for lunch. But wherever you are in the world, I certainly hope you have an absolutely amazing morning, evening, night. Sleep well. Have a good day. I hope your day tomorrow is awesome. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next live stream.